welcome to our first episode of MKF Nutrition. Our first episode, we're going to talk about protein now. I'm going to try to keep all these episodes to short little 10-minute snippets of info. We don't want to overcomplicate, or we also don't want to drag it out too far as well. So quite simply, what is protein? Protein is the building blocks of muscles. So that's what muscles need to actually grow bigger, grow stronger, and to also gain more strength as well. What does protein consist of? Literally just amino acids that are combined in a chain. They go out of the cell into the muscle, and that's where the muscle grows. Now, if we don't want to get too technical with it, why do we need protein? To build strong muscles. We build strong muscles, we can lift more weights, build more muscle. Those extra muscles now need more energy. That energy now can come from the breakdown of fat around the body, and then also you tend to eat more. Your metabolism fires up a little bit more, metabolism fires up a bit more fat burn around the body, and it's a good cycle like that. One of the most important reasons for fat burn right here. Now, how much protein do we need to consume? So, for a normal person that's sitting around doing nothing, 1 gram per kilo body weight, and that can go for both men and women. So this is inactive. Now for an active female, I'll be suggesting between 1.3 to 1.5 grams kilo body weight. I'm just going to go active female. Actually, we don't need the life bucket. For an active male, I've been recommending, especially if it's your first time going to the gym and training in weights, 2 grams per kilo body weight. That's active male. Let's just get rid of that. Active female. Beautiful. So, why do I suggest 2 grams? It might seem a little bit excessive. So to put it in perspective, for a 70-kilo person, 2 grams, that's right here. So let's just do a very quick example so then I can illustrate why that's important. It's about 140 grams of protein you need to consume per day, which is a ridiculous amount if you think about it. Because there's about 20 to 25 grams of protein in lean chicken breast and 100 grams of lean chicken breast. You would need about 700 to 800 grams of lean chicken to consume that amount right there. So, significant amount right there. Whenever we're first getting into activity, our body's going to be extremely responsive to any stimulus that we give to it. So when we're stimulating those muscles are going to be very adaptive to the environment that we produce for it. So if we flood it with protein, it's going to soak all that in for a certain period of time, between 1 to 3 months, between up to 6 months potentially, depending on the person. Then adaptive response starts to slow down, and that's when you need to pick up your training, you need to change your protein. So you need to change your training routine, you need to change certain stuff around to continue that adaptive process. Now, the next part that I want to get into, where can we find the protein? So literally, any meat, fish, poultry, beans, and then to an extension, legumes. Those are some of the main sources. Then you've got the alternatives like halloumi, all of that sort of stuff that you can add in there as well. But the main ones, your meat, your fish, your poultry, beans, legumes. I don't really like to refer to milk and your dairy, but your dairy is in there as well, partly because of the lactose, and I'm going to get into a into a different episode about dairy and its impacts in the body and all that sort of stuff. But for an extension, your feathers from your goat and all that sort of stuff fall into that line there as well. And then I might be mixing a couple sources, but these are really the main ones that you get a significant amount of your protein coming from. Now, let's wipe the board off. Beautiful. Awesome. Now, one of the questions I get often is, what if we consume too much protein? Isn't that going to be bad for our kidneys? Isn't that going to be bad for our liver? Well, the example I like to use is you'd have to take a whole 2 kilos amount of protein powder within one sitting, scald continuously for it to impact the kidneys. Because at the moment, there's actually no research to show a detrimental effect of overconsumption of protein. Now, protein, in terms of what we just spoke about here with your meats, fish, poultry, and that sort of stuff, you would need to consume a decent amount for it to affect. But protein is it's one of the macronutrients that actually satisfies you. So you can only eat so much, it's going to bloat and you won't feel like eating anymore. So that's the body telling you can't have any more, which is going to stop going to that extreme that we're speaking about in terms of kidney and whatnot. Which leads us perfectly into protein powders now. So I'm going to go into another episode deeply into protein powders, what are they constructed from, pros, cons, all that sort of stuff. But one way to supplement protein in a diet is literally just protein powder. And normally protein powder comes from whey, which is a dairy constituent. So whey comes from dairy. How they get it, superheat the milk to a certain temperature, and then they extract the whey in terms of the powder, and then they add all their extra, digestive enzymes and whatever else they're going to add into it. But again, protein powders so far are quite safe from the research and the literature out there. The only thing when it comes to protein powders is I tend not to refer to protein powders. If you can get your protein from natural sources, it'd be a lot better, because then you also get your micronutrients, all your vitamins, minerals from the actual chicken, from the meat, from the other stuff that you don't get from a protein powder. Again, I'm going to go into it in deeper detail in our next episode, but as a pro tip, if you are going to consume protein powder, make sure it's always with water. That looks like good. Beautiful. Make sure it's always with water, because if you mix it with milk, like what I used to do when I first started training, just chuck it in milk, it does taste better, but milk also has a protein called casein, and it also has a sugar called lactose, which don't tend to be digested by the body quite quickly. Now, when you're doing it with water, water hydrates you firstly, because you're also going to be dehydrated from a workout, or during the day as well, because I know some people don't like to drink water because apparently they're allergic to it. But drinking water with water helps amino acids almost bypass the stomach and they go straight to your muscles. You're also providing a transport for those amino acids to travel around the body as well. In terms of water, since our body is 70-80% water, we're creating a transport network. The more water available, the more the amino acids are going to shuttle around the body and go to where they're needed. The last thing to finish off with protein, which is another big talking point in the fitness industry, protein timing. So doesn't matter when you have your protein, doesn't make a lick of difference. As long as you consume the right amount of protein, so depending on who you are, 2 grams if you're just starting off, then I tend to wind that back down to 1.5 grams per kilo body weight. As long as you're consuming the right amount of protein, you're all sweet.